You are listening to episode 22 of the Underhook Show. My name is Steve, as always, alongside my co-host Chris. Chris, how are you doing on this Wednesday evening?
I don't know about you. I'm feeling 22. We're here, baby. I'm doing good, man. I'm ready to talk wrestling. Forget about the weeks that we had.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
getting to talk about wrestling with one of my favorite people, man.
Yep, likewise. Happy to be here. Happy to talk our great sport. Before we get into this week's edition of AEW Dynamite, I think just general thoughts on other happenings around the world. I really only was paying attention to the G1 Climax on top of catching up with DPW, as we talked about in past episodes, how we're getting there to where we could bring it back into the rotation on the show. But until then, the G1 wrapped up its block league, so to speak, like the league play rather, and overall, there's a lot of good in the A block, a lot of bad in the B block, which has been consistent. But Yuya Uemura was a highlight, especially his match with Oiwa and Korakuen Hall. They basically had like a 20-minute match based around headlocks, which ruled. Like, it felt very old school. I highly recommend that match. And Tanahashi's out. He did not make it through, which it is what it is, but I was pretty disappointed with that. Specifically how it happened. I don't know if you saw any of the results.
Not yet. I kind of fell off once Gabe Kidd got hurt because that was really the only reason. And then I watched the matches that you suggest me to watch because you know what kind of matches I'm into. So
Yeah, for sure. It was essentially win or go home for Tana. If he beats Evil, he advances to the playoff. You know, Evil, it's just House of Torture interference fest every match. He did the ruse saying, all right, this is going to be just a clean wrestling match, whatever. So you know it's coming. But it just happened, and then the match was over. Like, House of Torture just waltzed down to the ring, ref bump, hit their finishes, and then the match was done. And then Tanahashi's out. Like, that was it. And yeah, so I didn't watch Yuya versus David Finlay yet, just because I wasn't like pissed, you know, but I didn't feel like wrestling heat either. I was just like, okay, that's it. Tana's done.
Yeah.
It just felt like a really anticlimactic end for him to be in that winner go home scenario. So I just want to get that off my chest. But the playoff looks, again, it just looks lopsided. Like, just how I love the A block and didn't like the B block. The winner of Shota Umino and Yota Tsuji faces Evil, take it or leave it. But then on the other side,
I think it's Shota's winning that one.
He might. Tsuji went to the final last year, so maybe they're going to give him a shot. Shota just main evented Wrestle Kingdom, despite how that went. But on the other side of the bracket, it looks sick because Zack Sabre Jr. is awaiting the winner of David Finlay and Konosuke Takeshita, which I did a pick'em, and that's what I had as the final. So, like, it's happening in the quarterfinals. But, yeah, Finlay Takeshita, I'm really excited for. And then whoever, like, Zach's had a fantastic tournament despite his opponents. But, yeah, I don't know, it just feels very weird. But, yeah, anything with Yuya, go check out. Tanahashi had a good tournament outside of how it ended. But, yeah, that's kind of my G1 corner for the week.
Oh, yeah. This is where I tune in now, so I'm locked in.
Yes, I believe there's one show tomorrow, and then...
Yeah, it said the 14th, and then the 16th, the finals. I think that's when it's... Or 17th? I don't know, one of those.
I think they're going to do one show this week, and then or one show tomorrow and over the weekend. And then I think they're going to do the block finals and the final back-to-back nights next week. So, just about wrapped up. It's been a good tournament overall, I thought, especially with the A block. But if you know like where to kind of trim the fat, I think you could have a really good time with the tournament. So I just hope they finish strong. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That being said, did you catch anything outside of our usual?
I had Raw on. I honestly haven't really paid attention to WWE since SummerSlam. To be fair. I'm waiting for AAA. I'm waiting for Triple Mania to pop off on Saturday. I feel like that's going to be a good one to tune into
I believe it's streaming for free, right?
on YouTube, baby. So
That's cool.
I work, but I'm gonna pop. I'm definitely gonna tune in. I kind of hope Dirty Dom takes that title, But uh, anything else? And then just other than catching up on our DPW, like we said.
Sick. Yeah, I didn't catch any of Collision. Some stuff looked really cool though, so I got it on the list when I
Oh,
eventually watch through everything.
Matt, GCW versus JCW at the Gathering of the Juggalos is this weekend, and I'm stoked to see what that looks like. And Madman Pondo apparently got kicked out of JCW. I guess I don't know, but there was a spot between it was Madman Pondo and like Mickey Knuckles and John Wayne Murdoch and all this other stuff. Or hey, someone got set on fire and they weren't supposed to, and I don't know. It was crazy.
Oh, I saw the spot. I didn't know the context.
Yeah, I just saw a thing with Violent J. Like, the context was, do you know how big of a shitbag you have to be for like to get kicked out of JCW? Like,
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Hmm.
I don't know if you're in a low budget thing, clearly going against like state commission with fire, because I know for a fact like Jersey you can't do fire.
Yeah, well, according to Violent J, that they knew nothing about this spot. They went into business for themselves as to why they got kicked out.
Okay,
That's why they said there was no like fire extinguishers around. Because he even said he was like, we had no fire extinguishers around because we didn't plan that spot. Like that was not planned on our end.
at
So
least
that's why he's like, that's why they kicked. That's why they said her and Mickey Knuckles aren't in there, I guess. And
with my limited knowledge, I would assume they had no fire extinguishers because you have to clear that ahead of time, and I think Jersey is a big no-no with that. So, correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone's listening, but who has knowledge of the New Jersey State Athletic Commission, but yeah, that's just don't do that, please. Like, just we love the freaky violent stuff, but be.
And I also feel
reasonable.
like in a sense like, from what I'm gathering is like JCW is having like this weird resurgence where like they're trying harder now, but then you're still like going backwards by hiring weirdos. So
Yeah, it's very strange, but I know what you're getting at. My consumption of WWE now, just because you were saying you had Raw on, is basically just scrolling social media or like catching cage match results. And Io versus Roxanne sounds like it could be good, and I guess they're doing Io Asuka soon, which I know that'll be good.
yeah,
But
now you're doing this Bailey like crazy
crazy
thing.
Bailey, yeah,
Crayley, if you will.
yeah, we'll see. I trust Bailey to make anything work.
Oh, I mean, I love. Yeah, no, I'm good, but it was just like random, and then I don't,
I just look at the two title matches for that Paris show, and I'm like, I'm good.
oh yeah, no, so you had Lesnar come out, so Logan Paul could just be the one next to him. Like, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. Whatever, okay.
I am going to throw this out there, though, because I'm sure you saw that they're planning the Lesnar match for Indianapolis to counter-program All Out, and I'm wondering if All Out didn't get embargoed from its usual spot because of that. Because there's no way you could have a major each running a pay-per-view within like 2.5 hours, 3 hours of Highway on the same night. Well, I guess 4 hours because it would have been in Hoffman, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, true.
granted, it could have just been they had Canada in mind the whole time.
Didn't they move? Or aren't they? Didn't they just announce that pay-per-view? Or no, that was something else, right?
It's not even announced yet, but I'm sure with WWE they book these buildings way ahead of time.
Yeah, and then just wait to announce it until AEW does.
Right. So I thought of that, and I'm like, oh, that'd be really shitty.
There's no way that they think it's a coincidence now at this point. You know what I'm saying? There's no way. It's been like past like 5 pay-per-view or PLEs or whatever they're called now.
Well,
Like
there's a report that they're gonna try to counter program World's End with Cena's last match.
I think that's the report I seen on Twitter,
Yeah, I
X or
mean,
X
again,
Twitter, or
take it
whatever
with
it's
a grain
called.
of salt, but that's where that's at, and I
That's
don't
all right.
know.
I'm hopefully, weather permitting, we'll be
Yeah, we'll
live
be
at World's
enjoying
End anyway. I don't care.
the Continental Classic final, but I don't know. I've made my peace with the whole situation, but I just also am just like, damn, you're burning two of Cena's last couple of matches on Logan Paul and Brock Lesnar. I'm just like, all right.
I will say one of the highlights was the R-Truth segment, though. That was pretty fun. I'll give him that. I don't know if you saw that segment.
I didn't actually see it, but I knew what happened, and I hope our truth is doing well. So,
Yeah, I was just I like the comedy, and at least that was cool for me.
oh yeah, dude,
He's like,
he's awesome.
if you're back, I'm back. And then the scene was like, yeah, it's really weird, man. You made a kid cry, and I was like, it took me a second to like realize what he was talking about. But I
Man,
was like,
he cut his dreads off for that though.
well,
That go anywhere.
he needed to, because
Yeah.
them dreads were looking a little rough. Uh, but and I mean, no matter what your style is, there's something for you to check out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. But that being said, we can get into the weekly AEW Dynamite discussion. This being the August 13th episode coming from Cleveland, John Moxley hometown at the Andrew Bradley Music Center. This is the building they ran. I want to say it was the very first Dynamite of the year. No, the one after that. But they did when it was like Maximum Carnage
Yeah, with
with
their
Moxley and
Briscoe.
Hobbs.
Yeah, Moxley. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, so cool room. It's got that amphitheater look to it. I think it really suits TV wrestling. So it looked cool. The crowd was into everything,
Oh,
even stuff that you and I aren't necessarily thrilled about. But uh, hot crowd always adds to the watch. So
it made it easy to watch with the crowd, because like
yes,
with a silent crowd, it's kind of like but this crowd knew when to pop and every so it were
yeah, yeah,
not too bad.
easy watch. Even if I thought overall this was I think a step down from the run of shows that they've had following All In. But well,
Absolutely, we'll get there at the end.
let's talk about it though. First, to open things up, MJF Hangman segment in the ring with live mics, and no Mark Briscoe on this show, which I think we could just talk about this now because I want to hear your thoughts on this. The last few weeks of our show, we've talked about how just MJF has a billion feuds going on simultaneously, but yet on this show, there's no Mark Briscoe to sell the angle from last week, and no Hurt Syndicate on the card at all. I don't know about you, but I think that worked. I think it just helped it all kind of just be focused on what is now the world title match at the next pay-per-view.
I'm glad that they put the focal point on this and
Yes.
nothing else, and like next week, if they want to kind of like go back to a Briscoe thing or a Hurt Syndicate, kind of like, so that way kind of still in your brain, cool. But right here, this is what we needed to go into this. I still, I don't think he's cashing it. I don't think he's doing it. I don't know. It was just weird. I don't. We'll talk about it. Let's get into
Sure.
what
Yeah.
happened.
Well, to be honest, in the promo, I thought Hangman just cooked MJF. Like
Yeah,
he got the upper hand, which that pendulum would swing back. How they ended the show, which I thought that worked. What I thought was really funny about this, and I don't know if this was intended or not. It probably was. Hangman calls him an edgelord, and then MJF goes on this shtick about crucifying their god or whatever, and I'm like, wait, yep, he sure is.
oh yeah. Uh, I missed some of this because my kids started crying, but what I did hear from it sounded pretty. I need to go back and watch it, to be honest, so I can get the
Yeah,
full aspect.
yeah, I thought it was good stuff, especially from like Hangman really came out swinging verbally, and I don't know. It just makes sense. Like it's just it's babyface one against heel one. You know what I mean? And MJF. We'll have to see when they have the actual match. But I'm like, he seems just a bit more reeled in here. He's not doing any of his usual bullshit. Like this is very much heel MJF in a main event program, and it's a little more digestible than maybe he has been in the past. So I thought this worked.
Yeah, I walked in as he said he's going to execute the contract at Forbidden Door.
Yeah, and I think that opens no pun intended, but that opens the door with all of these feuds he has going on for maybe Mark Briscoe gets involved, costs him the match, and they pair off for All Out. Because the way I'm looking at it is, once you get into September, you have All Out, but then you also have the Anniversario for CMLL, like their biggest show of the year. He's defending that light heavyweight title on Friday night against Zandokan Jr., which that should be a really cool match. And I think then after that they'll probably finalize the Mystico match. So that'll happen in Mexico, and then we've had all these feuds. You have the Hangman match at the end of August. You have the Mystico match in the middle of September. You have the Briscoe match at All Out at the end of September. And that leaves whatever happens with Lashley. So I'm like, okay, like this is housekeeping. This is good. I'm glad they're getting their ducks in a row with this stuff.
I just have my only small complaint is them. It's not even that big of a thing. They should just make the match the casino match just for the title match at all Forbidden Door. Then, if they were going to do both contracts at Forbidden Door.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of takes away the mystique. I get it. Like, no one wants to see someone dangling a contract for months on end because that's kind of like the Money in the Bank thing, right? But
Athena at least tried to cash in.
yeah. So, like, I don't know. That was just my only, like, nitpick. I was like, well, damn, they should have just made the both gauntlets for a guaranteed match at Forbidden Door then, if they're just going to turn around and do this.
If you just say whoever wins this gets the world title match
at Forbidden Door, no one's going to say anything.
Right. You don't question it. It's like, okay, then that's fine. I'm cool with that. He's exercising the contract to get the match,
Yeah.
Renee confirmed that at the very end. Did they confirm that with Athena, though?
I believe so.
Okay, so maybe it was just an oversight. I feel like they never got to do with the contract, but
and like I said, like I get it, like because sometimes you don't want to see just like fake cash-ins for months on end or whatever it is, and I get it. It's fine. It's just a small little nitpick. They could have just been like, hey, that might just be my ADHD. In all honesty, but like they could have just been like, hey,
no, it's a valid criticism.
Winner of this match gets title match at Forbidden Door, which, whatever, it's fine. The match is gonna be good. So
it is a valid criticism though, because what's stopping them from just giving them these matches? Part of me also thinks that maybe all of the weirdness around building this show and the lack of
that's for damn sure,
and the lack of guests. Maybe Shuri was supposed to challenge Tony, and that got all weird with how, like, they flew her out and they took headshots and all this stuff. She posted those promos today, and she gets to America and it's just like, oh, by the way, I'm having elbow surgery, like, right after this. There's probably reasons that this whole show feels thrown together. We were talking about the timing of everything. Why would they do this show while the G1 and the 5-star are going on? And I think it's because they've done Wembley Stadium this particular weekend the last 2 years because it's a bank holiday in the UK. So I think that the point was to do a show again on the long weekend in the UK. But obviously Forbidden Door wasn't the right choice with all this mess with not getting any of the New Japan or Stardom talent on the show. CMLL, I believe, is about to announce their involvement momentarily, so I will keep looking at that. If it's
I'm
not
about to
tonight,
say there hasn't been a single CMLL. I mean, we have that women's match, right? That one of the CMLL is going to be.
yeah, they just haven't announced who's gonna be like who's competing for that. They have a weekly show called Informa. That's like it's like a studio show with interviews and match announcements and stuff, and they put like they did like with emojis. They kind of spelled out like Forbidden Door with it. So I'm sure we'll have more clarity on that. Like if it's not tonight, it's tomorrow. They're confirming this match to the opening match on Dynamite, which was just Jon Moxley continuing his hot streak here, in my opinion. Taking on Kevin Knight, hometown for Moxley, so it kind of made the face heel dynamic a little dissonant, just because people are always going to cheer for the hometown guy, especially someone like Mox. But what do you got in this match?
I think I was. It was a good match. Don't get me wrong. I think I was a little bit more hyped up than I should have been for it. Uh, I I don't know. It was a good. I have really nothing to write home about on it, to be honest with you, other than it was a good opening match. Hometown boy. I do like the ending. It was a weird looking choke, but
Yeah, I've never seen Moxley use that. I think that's very much he's pulling from mixed martial arts world with that one, because it's just not a hold I've seen very often, if at all. But I really like this match. I think I had it just under the speedball match from last week, but there's just things with these Moxley matches that he's so good at doing. Like when they set up for the superplex and there's all the different cutoffs, like joint manipulation, biting, back raking. Like he just knows when to just get nasty enough to cut off like that.
yeah.
But he was very giving to Kevin Knight in this match, which I was pleasantly surprised with. I was watching this match thinking Kevin Knight doesn't feel out of place wrestling Jon Moxley on AEW television, and like I've watched this guy since he was a young lion, so I was like, damn, like that's it's really awesome. I don't think he got to fully show off his crazy athleticism, but that like step up thing onto the apron and the way he like just
I wrote that down. I was like, that move was sick.
the way he just exploded off of it looked great. And then Saturday they're doing Jet Speed versus Moxley and Yuta, which I think it's safe to say that everybody here has good enough chemistry that there's no reason why that shouldn't also be very good.
Yo, Mox the workhorse, baby. It ain't no one can say anything about him.
We thought this man was taking a break.
And I literally just told my buddy Josh that today. He's like, and I was like, man, that's the workhorse. He is not taking a vacation. Like, this man has no days off. He's Darren Young in it right now. Bro.
And he's just, this run he's been on, it's weird. It's like he got better since losing the title.
Yeah, it's because now he's fighting to get it back. So he's got more to fight for, you know?
Yeah. It's just been such a reliable thing. And once Darby came into the ring, it really kind of hit me that I'm like, oh shit. Like the Darby Moxley program happening outside of the world title match, like no belt involved, it really rounds out television now. Because this is more or less an extension of the A program, but then also it's like Hangman's getting ready for his first pay-per-view defense. So you have these foundational things to build the rest of the show around. I think that's really smart booking.
Oh, yeah.
Which we could talk about the Darby angle now. Body bag UFO?
Oh,
Body bag UFO.
Listen, that one, or which one was worse? That body bag bump, or the one that Brian Cage gave him with the power bomb onto the apron?
Probably that one.
Because you don't know where you're landing with that power bomb on the apron. That's just...
Yeah.
You don't know where you're landing in the UFO either, I guess, but...
That one's a bit more random. I think... I mean, the apron bump can go wrong in all kind of ways, but...
This all could have went wrong all over the place.
I think just the visual, though, of Claudio doing the UFO to someone who... In a body bag, it's just... It's terrifying.
That looked more terrifying, by far.
Yeah, I hope we get one more Claudio Darby match on the way to the Moxley match because their chemistry is incredible.
I'm thinking I'm gonna assume maybe because you have to give Darby a warm up match because he hasn't wrestled, right? Or am I?
He has not. I feel like half the people in this cage match are either working hurt or coming back from an extended break, and it just feels like so much can go wrong. Which that brings us to Osprey coming out, making the save, and then just being like, "Well, I'm getting my revenge with my friends." Lights out steel cage. We've only gotten one lights out steel cage match, and it was Hangman and Swerve. Though this really feels like it's the blood and guts replacement match.
Yeah, why couldn't they just do blood and gut? Whatever.
So are they just gonna really stick 10 people in one
A
ring in one
tiny ass
cage?
cage.
I would hope they at least like break up the surface area and make it like a Hell in a Cell.
I just hope they do something. Like, don't make it look like the New Japan cage though.
Yeah, I don't want that. No dog pound
Yeah, I don't
war
want
games or whatever the fuck they
yeah,
do.
I don't know,
But
whatever that rinky dink cage they had.
we'll talk about that as the names start to filter in as the night went on. But that
And
confirms,
boy, did they.
yeah, that confirms what everybody's doing because Darby wanted the singles match at all or at Forbidden Door. Moxley wasn't having it, so we're getting this, and then I'm assuming we'll get the proper blow off at All Out. This All Out card's starting to really look insane. And to be fair, if this Forbidden Door shows like a B show, I mean, there's still some sick stuff on it. So
I'm saying, I mean, I'm tuning in regardless because it's during the daytime. Sign me up.
yeah, 12 noon pay per view in Central Time Zone. I'm all about that. So that'll be fun. Yeah, but good match, cool angle. Obviously, Darby's already doing crazy shit again. I mean, he made his reemergence to television by jumping off of a balcony, so I wouldn't expect anything less.
I was hoping they were gonna take like Darby in the body bag and drag him behind the truck. But
Hey man, we got a lot of mileage with this program. Don't outrule it. Women's match of the night. They must have heard our criticism because we didn't get a four-way. And I think it was for the best just because it was what we talked about, where you have that many moving parts and things can go wrong. When you have tags, naturally, people filter in and out. You can mask maybe some weaknesses. Overall, I thought this was fine. I mean, the teams were... Mercedes kind of filled in the Triangle of Madness with Sky Blue and Tekla against the babyface team of Queen Aminata, Alex Windsor, and Willow Nightingale. My thought from this match, though, is just how fucking awesome Queen Aminata is. I thought she was the star of this match.
I love Queen Aminata. Her and I love Willow too, but I don't know
Yeah.
what they down. I love all these women, to be fair, but a crazy cage match spelled Willow. Why? A cage side spelled Willow crazy style. But yeah, I think it's okay match. All honesty, Queen Aminata, and I'm becoming a Windsor fan more and more, just seeing her wrestle. So
Yeah, she's been fine. I got no complaints. I still got to go back and watch the Athena match. I heard that was pretty good.
and they won with sharpshooter, I believe. Yeah, the sharpshooter, I believe. Sky Blue. But yeah, it was like this one was like really nothing to write home about. Good women's match. We didn't get a four-way this tonight, but it was announced that we get a 100K four-way on Collision.
And Chris Statlander's in it, and again, what are we doing?
Yo, Chris Statlander about to rake up some dough apparently.
Yeah, I mean, good for her. She'll use that 100K and buy something nice for her iguana.
And not be on, TV until the Willow.
I feel like I say the same shit every week. I appreciate the groundwork they've laid to have this women's division have some more depth to it, but we're getting the same match every week, and I just don't understand how you'd have nothing for Willow and Stat. So I hope they give them something soon, and we still haven't gotten the damn Tekla Queen Aminata blow off.
Yeah, well, give me that. That's what I'm waiting for. Side note, I think they just changed it. They spelled Willow Whillow, but now it's spelled normal. So I think they just changed it as I was
Damn.
figuring. Yeah, it was
They got the
crazy.
live. They got the live feed, dude. They saw
They heard us.
Willow with the H for
Yeah,
today, and then
it's
they
a silent
swapped it out.
H.
Yeah, but I know. I also noticed with this that they tried to incorporate the builds of both women's matches on Forbidden Door into one segment here with Athena and Tony in the crowd, and then eventually coming to the ring to set up the match for next week, which is Tony Storm and Alex Windsor against Mercedes Moné and Athena. That sounds like it could be really good if they're not just kind of coasting ahead of their match, like preserving themselves, which I wouldn't blame them if they were ahead of their big title matches on the pay-per-view. That's a good group there, and it's interesting seeing Mercedes involved in these tag matches because she's very much just kind of been isolated in her own little bubble for most of her AEW run. So I think it's cool to see her interact with more of the roster like this.
Yeah, and eventually down the line, we're gonna get that Athena Monet match, right? You would think.
I would hope so
Because
because I still feel for how good the first one was.
that's what I was saying. I was like, y'all need to run that back for us fans here. But I'm stoked to see Tony and Athena, and
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad if Athena won. Just saying.
yeah, I'm with you, and I think next week when we preview Forbidden Door in its entirety, we can talk about that. But I'm with you. Tony was in gear, but I don't think they're taping anything tonight. She was just in wrestling boots, so I was like, oh,
Maybe
Son of Collision's taped.
that's what I was saying. I don't know. I don't know if they announced if it was live or not.
Yeah. Then we get back to now we're starting to roll out all the names in this lights out cage match. And that being said, that Ospreay made a call to his old boss, which I had to actually see how long he worked in New Japan when Tanahashi was president.
I don't think it was that. How long has Tanahashi been president?
A year or two? So maybe for that,
Maybe a couple months.
yeah, like it
Maybe
couldn't have been very long.
maybe it was the like right before he signed to AEW.
Yeah, like it wasn't long. So Hiroshi Tanahashi's final match in the UK is a lights out steel cage match.
I just want to let you know when they announced his name, you were the first person I thought of. I said, my man is over there asking. I knew the question you were going to ask was, them knees ain't going to hold up. Because
This man just worked like a month-long tournament. The only singles match that was really short, the Sonata match went 2 minutes, but it was actually hilarious. I do recommend going out of your way for Tanahashi Sonata. Which Tanahashi fell face first. He did like a corner bump where he fell face first into the apron. Not saying he isn't willing to put his body on the line for this. Like my thought process here is this man just worked a month-long tour, given everything he has left in the tank. And now he's doing a lights out cage match, which is not something that's not his environment to begin with, you know?
yeah, I'm getting flashbacks of the Kota Ibushi and the Blood and Guts all over again. And then, well, we'll get no.
Yeah, the last time Tana did anything crazy like this was him and Kenta had essentially like a no holds barred match on Wrestle Kingdom in 2022. And Tana did the high fly flow off of a ladder. And I believe that was a match where Kenta separated his hip. But yeah, this is not his forte. Maybe he just said fuck it, like let's do something different. But when I saw the lineup, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, a lot of people in that match have history with him. And we're getting to the home stretch here where not everybody's going to get the chance to work with him again. So maybe this was their way of giving all those people kind of one last go with him. You know what I mean?
True.
So that's kind of how I'm coping with it. Not that I'm like mad or anything, but I'm just like, Tanahashi in a cage match. Like, what? Like, but we'll see.
Yeah. What? I, all right.
Yeah. Uh, and then Ospreay told Renee to ask her husband for some promo time next week in Glasgow, which that crowd should be absolutely wild. It's AEW's first time in Scotland, so I think the crowds next week are going to be electric. So keep your eye out for that one.
My match of the night. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
They should have been.
Yeah, it was funny. I'll give it the first like 5 minutes of it was funny.
Yeah, this was weird. I mean, for how much time they spent in the crowd, again, this is nerd bait, immersion, like breaking immersion stuff. Why didn't the ref start counting?
Yep, yeah, that's my question.
Like,
Why
they were
did
in the crowd for like 5 minutes.
I have a question. Why was that girl so proud to be a hoe?
Hey, their prerogative.
I mean, hey, I'm just saying she was very proud of it. But hey, it was funny though. When he tried hitting those spears and he just bounced off.
Yeah, like that stuff was great. The crowd stuff, I just think lingered a little too much.
You didn't need to do all that. There was no need to do all that. And then I honestly thought that Stokely was going to have like a metal plate a la Bret Hart style under his thing. And when Cope went to go spear him, boom, big brain.
That would have been funny. I think Stokes a good comedy wrestler, don't get me wrong. The layout of this just felt weird to me. And then I honestly thought the post-match angle fell flat.
Absolutely flat. This whole segment was flat. This right here was, as it shouldn't have been, because Stokely's in it. Like,
yeah. So I'm with you though. Christian making the save. I liked that he used Spike and handed it over as a peace offering, and they're gonna kind of do this whole. They got to iron out the creases a little bit before they're best friends again. That makes sense. We talked about it. If it wasn't last week, it was the week before. How Edge and Christian against. I'm sorry. It's what I'm calling them.
That's fine. We know what we're talking. We're wrestling fans. We know.
Edge and Christian against Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne. That makes sense for the first match. Like, they're not just going into the FTR match. Probably gonna get those belts on FTR first.
Yeah, it's just going as fodder to go into FTR and probably All Out, I'm assuming.
I mean, it's in Toronto.
Yeah.
Edge and Christian obviously are
That's
Toronto boys, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so
I think it just felt weird how everybody was kind of involved in this.
Yeah,
it wasn't one or the other.
It was dumb how Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne came out, and it was too of a clusterfuck to me.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Edge winning by disqualification, I mean, he should have just beat Stoke, but so maybe just too many cooks in the kitchen with this particular segment to where it could have hit. But we got a Hook vignette, which means he should be close to coming back, which is good. Because, you never know with concussions. We just didn't know what was going on. There were multiple spots where it would have made sense to bring him back. But
he came back once, and that was it.
Yeah, good that he's good to come back. I think there were spots where you and I were talking about where it would have made sense with, like, All In and all these different things. And clearly it was a health issue that, I mean, they wouldn't be running this vignette if he wasn't healthy,
Yeah, I was stoked to see it because I'm a Hook guy. I like Hook.
Yeah, in his spot. I mean, they're going to have to figure that out on screen, but I think that kind of writes itself, so.
By all means, we're going to get another Samoa Joe Hook match then.
Yeah, and the first one was spectacular, so I'm all for that.
Yeah, 100%. Give me that.
Yep. This week in Young Bucks bullshit.
This is awesome.
No music, no announcement. And the graphics behind them were their backyard wrestling names. And this has just been a really awesome bit heading into their matches.
This and what happens later on was great too. Like, the small part that happens with them later on had me laugh too.
Yeah, yeah, they're really they've stayed consistent with the bit here. They announced this shortly before the show. Another All-Star tag. This one had a bit more of a purpose going forward though, because Fletcher called out New Japan to send their best. I was expecting a junior heavyweight, given that the G1's going on and all your heavyweights are occupied, because New Japan does do the weight class system, as majority of Japanese promotions do. I did not expect Hiromu, mainly just because LIJ is not really a thing, and he's at a certain point in his career to where I didn't really think we'd get him out on a singles match on Forbidden Door. But yeah, the mystery partner for the babyfaces, which was Brody King, Hologram, and Tomohiro Ishii, was Hiromu Takahashi. And if that's not the blunt rotation team of the night, I don't know what to tell you.
Before they announced Takahashi come out and it was Brody, Hologram, and Ishii, I said, look at this blunt rotation here.
Dude.
Where's Bandito at? Like, this would... whatever, I guess. Hey, whatever. But this, like I told you earlier, I think this was my match of the night. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Because I'm always down for a good party match when it's right. And here, it wasn't bad. I liked it. A lot of good spots. Josh Alexander needs to be on my TV a lot more than he is.
Yeah, and for context, the heel team was the Young Bucks with Kyle Fletcher and Alexander. And if you've enjoyed the AW party match that's become a staple in 2025, like to where if it's not every week, it's damn near more of the same. The Bucks, I think, are still in their groove as far as...
I'm going to hold you right there. They're not the Bucks. They are these guys.
Yes, thank you. They're for the teammates of these guys, which, again, a small thing that goes a long way. But they've hit a nice common ground of where they're committing to the bit and looking like assholes, but then they're still the Bucks. Like, this is the closest they felt to the Young Bucks to me in a very long time. You just want to see them get their ass kicked, and, like, the flashy moves kind of add to the heel shtick. So it works for me. And they've developed some nice chemistry with Brody King. That's continued into this week. Super kicking Justin Roberts, I did not expect.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Shout out to Tony Schiavone, doing ring announcements since 1989.
So I don't know if he's taking time off or what, but it seemed there's a reason why they I'm sure they did that. Maybe it's just part of the gimmick of where they've gotten shit on in every week, and thus they're taking out their frustration. But
yeah, what was that? I don't know who was it on Brody that they hit that crazy sequence of moves to on the outside, where and I don't think it was Brody, but Fletcher caught him for the Melter driver.
It was Brody, yeah.
Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah, that sequence was nuts.
Yeah, the Melter driver on the ramp looks sweet too. Fletcher was selling the knee a lot, so I hope that's all it was.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
But I mean, again, Fletcher's one of the more, I would say, he's one of the heels in mainstream TV wrestling that is way more open to being presented as vulnerable, which is a good thing. But the purpose of this match was for Hiromu to be introduced and to stake his claim at that TNT title. So Kyle Fletcher is making his next defense on Forbidden Door against Hiromu. It's a very strange match on paper, just because these days you don't know what Hiromu you're going to get. But at very least, I think you could have a big little match here.
Does he not come out with Daryl anymore?
I mean, normally I guess maybe he couldn't get him through customs, but
I'm hopefully Daryl will be at Forbidden Door. But
yeah.
That was my first question. I was like, "Hey, where's Daryl?"
Right. I do think though, given that this is one of the more, I mean, granted they had the Naito match this year, which wasn't good, but it's just because Naito and Hiromu are where they're at with their bodies at this rate. But my thought process, as far as cautious optimism with this match, is you could do a lot of heel shtick with Fletcher and with somebody as animated as Hiromu. And also, given that this is like Hiromu Takahashi in this spot, maybe he will turn the clock back and just go full psycho mode with some of the stuff he does.
Time bomb.
Yeah, like just straight out, like just, the Hiromu of the Tony Tens, so to speak.
I don't know about you, but I felt it very weird that him and Ishii were on the same team.
That was weird because
Chaos and LIJ, that was weird, man.
Yeah, I mean,
but I mean, I guess they did bring it up, and Excalibur brought it up. Like, oh, they used to be on opposite sides, in Japan or something like that.
Yeah, now both are dissolved.
That's crazy. Chaos used to LIJ's always been one of my favorites, but Chaos had Ospreay, so I was, before he went to the UE, but.
Yeah, so that was interesting because I was thinking that too. Fun match though. I was surprised that this didn't main event because I really thought that the reveal could have filled that spot, and then Moxley didn't main event either. So I'm like,
I'm glad that I wasn't the only one that thought that these two matches should have been flip flopped.
Yeah. Before we get into the main event, though, they announced the full lineup for this Lights Out cage match, which is Death Riders and the Young Bucks, which Death Riders are featuring Gabe Kidd. I do make that distinction, even though he feels just part of the group now whenever he's around.
Because Pac is no longer, or he's still hurt, I think, right? Or wherever he is.
Yeah, I hope he's doing okay. I saw someone posted like a highlight clip of the Okada Pac match from Dynasty last year. It sucks that it just feels like he's never gotten a substantial run in AEW between injury and visa trouble. And it's such a shame because he's still so good.
I'm still holding a grudge that I didn't get to see him versus, to be fair, I got to see him versus Kenny Omega, but it worked out. It was awesome. I didn't get to see Mox versus Kenny Omega though, so.
That was the first All Out. Yeah.
But hey, I'm not complaining because that Pac and Kenny Omega match was awesome. So
yeah. Full lineup for this cage match, though. Death Riders and the Young Bucks, which to get to the Young Bucks, they had Moxley walk into the extras room. So, yeah.
That was it took me a second. I was like, what's he doing? Who are these two guys standing there? And then I was like, and then they panned over, and I was like, oh, this is great. The quote-unquote jobber locker room.
I don't love that we're back to this.
Yeah, me either.
Death Riders and the Young Bucks, but this whole card just feels thrown together. The babyface team's even more wild because it's
a clusterfuck.
Yes. Darby Allin, Will Ospreay, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and then out of nowhere, the Golden Lovers, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. And if you take storyline out of this, if you look at all these people and their history working in New Japan, Tanahashi and Kenny headline the Tokyo Dome, Tanahashi and Ibushi, G1 final, one of my favorite matches ever. The Young Bucks worked New Japan for the whole, peak Bullet Club.
They were the best heel tag team in that era, I think.
You could make that argument. And Ospreay and Tanahashi never had any, final or Tokyo Dome match, but they have wrestled, and I know Tana, I think, was high on him. And Gabe Kidd and Kenny had the match at the Tokyo Dome this year, so...
That match ruled.
And Moxley... I'm sure Moxley wanted to work Tana one more time before it's all said and done. And I love their match on the first Forbidden Door. Does the lineup do it for me as far as the build? No. But I get it. This is a Road 2 match for Mox and Darby, but I understand. You get all these guys in the ring with Tana. I'm sure it'll be crazy. The one thing that I'm hesitant about, though, as I said, Gabe Kidd's coming off injury. Ospreay's coming off the herniated discs. Kenny hasn't been on TV since all in. You know, Ibushi has his injury history, so if you do a big multi-man, I get it. You're preserving everybody, but you're not preserving yourself in a lights-out cage match.
Yeah. I'm interested.
If it goes off without a hitch, though,
Oh, it
I
could be a
mean,
banger.
there's no way this can't be a blast.
Like on paper, come on. So,
Oh, Ibushi's jumping off that cage.
oh, for sure, Phoenix Splash. But but I just like we talked about. I hope they spread it out. You know.
Yeah, I just hope everyone's healthy and is good to go, because if that's the case, this will be insanity. And I think this also might take Blood and Guts' place this year, which I'm cool with that.
Cool with giving Blood and Guts a break.
Yeah. I feel like they never really got it yet, so maybe taking a year off and just doing this as a one-off will be the better play.
The first one got stuck in the Jericho vortex, so
yeah. Main event time again. I was shocked this one on last.
There was a boring Strickland and Okada thing. We don't need to talk about.
I totally glossed over that again.
You're okay. It was I literally bro I did not they talked nothing. He called him a bitch. Carry on.
It just feels like they wanted to do this match and they got nothing else to add to it, and that's fine. When I see it on the marquee, that makes sense for this show, but yeah, I've not been into the build in this match whatsoever, and I just hope it's better than the TV match. I'll leave it at that.
Samesies.
And they're trying to say Swerve's hurt now. Like, what's going on?
They said his knee. So,
man, Okada isn't somebody who's known to work the knee, so we'll see if he does that with this kind of refreshed heel persona. Working the knee is Okada's rival's job, but the main event of this, clearly there was something going on to where this wasn't going to close out the show. But I was still shocked it was on last as far as what we were told. La Facción and Goldbergnable, I believe this is the third week in a row Rush's been on TV, which I'm very happy about that.
If Beast Mortos dating Monet gets Roosh on my TV also,
then politic, brother.
And hey, Jalisco, welcome aboard, buddy. You're getting the Juwan Howard treatment.
Oh my goodness. Hey, Samoa Joe's back.
Let's go. Oh, shout out Twisted Metal, because that show's awesome.
Yeah, and I believe he was just doing the press tour before that.
He was doing some like red carpet stuff like that. But he's back, and Hook's coming back soon. We're going to get them two wrestling. Oh, we're going to get maybe a Hook Willie Haas match. I don't know how that's going to look on paper, but
I don't know if they've ever had the singles. I know that they had the triple threat with Wardlow.
Yeah, where they were just like tossing him around.
Yeah, so Hobbs, Joe, one-on-one. I think if they break the group up, I think you got some cool matches in the chamber.
Man, where's Big War Dog at?
I believe he was at TV at one of these Ohio shows, but he's working on other things. He was filming like American Gladiators, if I'm not mistaken.
Also, they also announced on Collision something that we might be interested in. A Fatal 4-Way. Winner faces Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, we didn't talk about this, damn.
And it was Lee Moriarty versus Daniel Garcia versus Roderick Strong versus, in my eyes, a clear-cut winner, Nigel McGuinness.
Roddy, it's not, instead of Roddy, it's Hechicero.
I thought it was Roddy. My bad.
No.
Hechicero. Edit that out, boss.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, we could, I'll fix that. But, yeah. Nigel Zach seems to be on the cards, which...
Give me that.
If you're ever going to do it...
And now's the time. In the O2, give Nigel another moment.
And you can work safe enough with, like, just them doing their thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Please give me that. It's probably going to be Daniel Garcia. But please give me that.
I mean, on paper, I'd be cool with any of them. I don't think Zack Sabre Jr.'s wrestled Daniel Garcia. Or Lee Moriarty, for that matter. Because when they were coming up, That's when Zack was full time New Japan. And Hechicero, I mean, they've ran that match like 4 times in the last year. 3 times in the last year, excuse me. They did Mexico, they did London, and then they did LA. So, and the London show was on Rev Pro, so maybe they want to do it in an AEW setting. But I really don't think you put Nigel on a TV match if it doesn't mean he's going to the pay per view. So thank you for reminding me because we didn't talk about that. That kind of just got announced over the
Yeah.
weekend.
I knew something was like, I was like, there's a match that they announced that me and you would enjoy. Like that four-way in general on paper sounds badass.
Yeah.
So
When we do next week's episode, we will know the outcome. And I think by the time they're in Scotland, this card will be all sorted out.
have our predictions as always.
Yeah, yeah. So look forward to that. As far as the main event goes, though, I actually thought this was a lot of fun. Uh, the thing I kind of was hoping for didn't happen though, to where Shibata and Roosh anchored the match, but I was kind of like, holy fuck, Samoa Joe and Roosh are sharing a ring, and we just didn't get too much, or at least I could say I just wanted more of that. Because when you think of those two names, you think of just something really fucked up. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But Shibata and Roosh, hey, for where Shibata's at and the precautions that he needs to take, they were laying in though, man.
Uh, they were stiff for sure.
Yeah,
I'm always happy to see my man Beast Mortos on TV. Uh, but always happy to see Shibata too. Honestly,
yeah. So it's a cool group of wrestlers here. I just you knew something was going to happen though, and as the Ops win,
the ending seemed kind of weird though. But
yeah, Drew Listico passes out, but he's like kind of tapped too. But they just had them in the ring for forever. Is somebody gonna challenge them for the pay per view? Are we going to do some sort of angle? But in my mind, I'm like, what do the Ops have to do with whatever's going to happen? And it turns out they didn't, because it was a backstage angle involving Hangman and MJF, and again, MJF just shit cans him and saying, you know, you ain't seen nothing yet, as far as him unleashing the nastier side of him, which I'm cool with that because they've already had a match on pay-per-view this year, so I do think it needs to have a little bit more mustard behind it as far as how it's wrestled, because they opened Revolution, which I thought was a pretty good match, and I think now that it's clearly that was the first in a series, you have a path to take now.
yeah,
So, how do you feel about the closing of the show?
I didn't mind it, to be honest. I just, like you said, I felt it so weird that they were just in the ring, because as wrestling fans, you're kind of programmed, like, if they're staying in the ring for a long period of time, usually something happens. But like you said, who else? They got nothing going on. There's nothing popping for the trios right now. So, and then the MJF, just more. Wait, next week we'll see what happens with more. I mean, the promo at the beginning of the show got me more amped up than the end beatdown. So,
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah, so all but confirmed. If it's Hangman versus MJF, I know some people have been calling for a 3-way with Mark Briscoe. Depends on how long he sells the post match. I could very well see him just costing MJF the match to kind of, like I said, splinter off into their own feud. But should be pretty good. It just feels so strange that just the lack of New Japan talent on the show. But I mean, we've talked in circles about that as it is. But this weekend, Deadlock Beast Coast airs. I believe it was taped last week. So I will be checking that out. And then depending on where we're at as far as our group catch up.
I'll be done for sure.
Well, in that case, I would say keep your eyes peeled for some Deadlock discussion next week, in addition to the go home episode of AEW Dynamite ahead of Forbidden Door, where we will get you ready for the big show in the O2 in London. But other than that, you got anything else for us, Chris?
I have nothing at all, my friend.
Same here. Well, we hope you enjoyed this power hour of the Underhook show, and we'll talk to you again next week.
See ya.